Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. You can say whatever you want about Donald Trump, but you can't say he has no balls, good or bad. And when do you say someone has balls? When he has courage, when he has to do or has to say something that is very unpopular or rounds against the narrative. And he does exactly that in this article that I will share with you. Trump, with his sins and qualities, is sometimes saying things out loud that most of them are afraid to say, which is Zelensky is part of the reason why Ukraine war started. And not only started, it continues. Some of us has claimed that, but we are considered either on Putin's payroll or far right or conspiracy theorists or imbeciles or whatever they want to call us. Why? They try to assassinate our characters, our credibility, not with facts, but with insults. We have here Trump saying exactly what we've been saying, and not only that we've been saying, and that means it is true. The evidence points out to this. According to Russia Today, on the 14th of August, reports that Zelensky started the war, then begged for missiles. Trump. Now, you might say he's crazy, but I would like you to do only this. Please verify. Please gather as more information, data, historical facts, events that are available. Gather them, put them together with an open-minded mind. That means accepted for analysis. You don't have to accept it as being true because you have to verify it, but accept them for analysis. And once you've vetted them, you add them to your luggage or baggage of knowledge. And then you use it to draw conclusions. That's very simple. So don't trust me. Don't believe what Trump said. I want you to do the legwork, the mental effort. The Ukrainian leader has recently renewed his call for Washington to supply air defense systems. Ukraine's Vladimir Zelensky should never have started a war with Russia, US President Donald Trump has said. Now, this is paraphrasing. We're going to go to the direct quotation, correct? And I'm quoting Trump. He's always looking to purchase missiles. With whose money, Mr. Trump? The US President noted, and I'm quoting again Donald Trump, the President of the United States of America. When you start a war, you got to know that you can win the war. Donald Trump has said about Zelensky. And I'm quoting again, you don't start a war against somebody that's 20 times your size and then hope that people give you some missiles. The key word, you don't start a war when you start a war. 2 times. Trump added that he gave Kiev American-made Javelin man-portable anti-tank missiles during his first presidency. During the interview with CBS, Zelensky called on US to supply Ukraine with more air defenses. Kiev is ready to buy with whose money? They have no economy. Or lease up to 10 Patriot air defense systems, and some European backers have offered to help with the money, he claimed. From whom? Borrowed from the international banking system. Europe is a bankrupt entity. During the interview, the network suggested that Trump tried to cut Kiev out of peace talks with Russia, and then he lied in his statements about the conflict. Trump allegedly, and I'm quoting, rewrote history, saying falsely that Ukraine had started the war and calling Zelensky a dictator without elections, according to CBS. Now, between you and I, as I said, my friends, these guys are not at that point as George Orwell wrote in his dystopian novel 1984, which is burn the past. Therefore, we create the future by having the present. So we control the present by burning the past, and then by that we create the future, because all you're going to read is what we write now, and you will never be able to compare and contrast with what we have right now written for you with what actually happened. That's why old history books are not available, only the new ones. Because when you read a book, let's say from 1950s about the Second World War, it's going to be, I must say, very different to the books they write for you, your children, and your offspring. Now, why? They rewrite history. Why? Because they think, you're not going to read a book, are you? Please. So you're going to read what we give you in school as mandatory lecture. And they don't even do that. They play a video from the Hollywood. By whom? And then they will rewrite the history. I've seen this in real life. Children coming to me and quoting a movie as evidence in school for whatever class, besides the garbage classes of Holocaust and Anna Frank and all this. We should not learn that. If they want to learn about their own shit, however they want to interpret it, that's fine. Don't indoctrinate us with your garbage. We don't care. I don't care. I do not care. I don't think my children need to know what you want them to know about you. And it's unimportant. Why? Because you're going to build guilt. That's what you're going to. It's going to be a shaming process, like Germany. So, in this case, Trump says, don't start a war if you can't win. Before you start a war, think about it. So, I think Trump is clearly accusing Zelensky of starting the war. Now, with the little evidence, quote unquote, whatever, that I have regarding this garbage that occurs in Ukraine, things are, let's say, kind of clear. NATO, interest behind NATO. NATO is just a tool, which is the United States of America. Interest, economic, financial interest, wanted to take over Russia in order to take its resources and blackmail China. China without resources is blackmailed. As Europe without gas and oil is zero. They have no resources, my friends. What? Norway with its newly discovered? If someone bombs Norway for 3 hours or 3 minutes, that's it. You're out. Europe, let me turn off the light. Click, and that's it. Grain? Where do you grow grain in Europe? Let me know. In Romania? In the Baragan? Or in Ukraine? Where else? In the fucking Black Forest in Germany? Or in the forest in Poland? They have coal. Poland has coal. What else? Very depleted entity. That's why they need Lebensraum, living space. That's why there's European Union. It's an imperialistic, new, how do you call it, colonial style takeover of other people's resources. That's what it is. So Trump says, don't start a war. Too late, they did. And remember, Zelensky was the one who said, I don't like anything about the international law, Minsk Agreement 2, 2015, where the Germans and the French were the guarantors that Kiev will follow and implement Minsk agreements, which they didn't. So when you hear, for instance, Germany and France saying, we want to be at the negotiating table, no, you have no credibility. Next, this is Great Britain, which is the opossum for me. Why the Great Britain is the opossum? The opossum looks very aggressive, but it's harmless. That's exactly what United Kingdom is. We're going to do this to you, we're going to do this to you, and we're going to push the Ukrainians, and they're going to push the Romanians, they're going to push the Bulgarians, and they're going to put the Poles, they're going to the Baltic states, maybe the Georgians, maybe the Armenians, and then when the shit hits and they come close to us, the opossum is like, let's talk. Peace, okay? That's what they did. That's why they did all their fucking history. Well, at one point, England was Britannia. Now, no, since you won the Second World War while bankrupting your country by Churchill and losing an empire, you are a bankrupt country. But anyway, still a whore that thinks that she can do it. No, you can't. Nobody wants you. The same with Great Britain. We still can. You can't. Try. Why don't you attack Russia? Why don't you attack, let's say, China? You wouldn't even dare to attack Iran, let alone the woodchuck in North Korea. Those are first world powers. Great Britain, I don't think so. I mean, you can say we have nuclear weapons, we can have this and you can have that. When was the last time you really fought a war? I tell you when. Alone, it was with Maldives, with Argentina. Good job, Argentina. Yes. In 1978? I have to remind you, we are in 2025. Anyway, let's move on. So Zelensky said, I don't like anything about Minsk agreements. Germany and France said, okay, go on. The Russians said, back the fuck off. Don't kill our people in East Ukraine. Are you going to stop us? Yes, as a matter of fact. And they did. And they beat those 30-some countries that funded and helped Ukraine to defend itself. And Trump says it. Don't start a war that you can't win. This guy said we're going to inflict a strategic defeat on Russia. On a nuclear power? I mean, this was imbecility from the get-go. But nevertheless, here it is. You can call Trump however you want to call him, but he has the balls to say certain things. Sometimes outrageously imbecilic things, but sometimes outrageously truthful things that other people would not dare to say it at a high society. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.